Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now. In your eyes lie the secrets I don't wanna miss.
Hi, this is Stray Passer, and this is my top 20 favorite movies of all time. I want to say special thanks to Robin176, a great fellow YouTuber from the UK. She came up with a list of her top 20 movies, and I think I did this one time before, but I'm not sure. So I decided to do it again, okay, and it's hard to come up with a top 20 list of favorite movies, but I managed to do it, and I even put it in a semblance of an order. And just for future reference, I think towards the end of the year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my top 100 movies of the year. I'll probably divide it into 4 videos, so that way it's just 25 each. But I'm going to try to do my top 100 movies of all time, and probably throw in a few wacky surprises and stuff. But I want to do that, as an idea. So I want to thank you, Robert, for giving me the idea of top favorite movies. So I think, like I said, what I'm going to do is do a top 100 favorite movies of all time, and maybe throwing little extra surprises and stuff in there. But that's for the end of the year. I'll probably do that in December when I go on vacation. I'll probably just do it over a course of a couple of days and just do it that way. But anyway, back to my top 20 movies of all time, favorite movies of all time. Okay, coming in number 20 is a movie that was directed by James Cameron. Okay, this is a sequel to the great Ridley Scott movie Alien. This is called Aliens. This movie, of course, stars Sigourney Weaver, the only survivor from the previous movie. And Alien was a great movie in itself. But Aliens just turned it up a notch, turned it up to a level like 10. In this story, of course, you have James Cameron introduces the Space Marines into this story, and they go to the planet, where the aliens are. I think they have to go to the settlement. That's what their plan is. They go to a settlement, and they take Sigourney Weaver with her, and Paul Reiser is like a government advisor to investigate this colony. And of course, there's aliens there, and Bill Pullman's in it. You have Michael Biehn. It's just a bunch of favorite, just the inclusion of the Marines in this just turn, like I said, so you actually have somebody that can physically fight back against the xenomorph. It just turns it up another level, which is fantastic. And I love Aliens. It's a great movie, and like I said, Bill Pullman is a scream in that movie, and Sigourney Weaver is total badass in this movie. And I love, that famous line that she says, "Get away from her, you bitch," which is just fantastic. So that's number 20. Okay, number 19 on my list is a movie by Quentin Tarantino, and it's hard to, because he has so many great movies. Okay, but I'm going to go with my latest, I think the latest movie that he made. But I know he has a movie coming out with Jamie Foxx later in the year. But this movie I absolutely loved, Inglorious Basterds. Starring Brad Pitt, Eli Roth, Michael Fassbender's in this. Even Michael Myers is in this. Who else is in it? I'm trying to think who else. I can't remember the guy who won the Oscar, who played the head Nazi. He was great. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was fantastic as the head Nazi that won. He won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar because he was fantastic. And this story, like I said, takes place during World War II, and it follows several different storylines. Okay, Brad Pitt plays the leader of this Nazi hunting group, and he puts on this great accent as Lieutenant Aldo Ray, and Brad Pitt is just fantastic in this movie. The faces that he makes and the voice is just absolutely fantastic. And of course, in any Quentin Tarantino movie, the dialogue is the thing, and the dialogue is absolutely fantastic in this movie. And this is definitely a movie to be seen, and you just have to see it because, like I said, there's several different storylines in there, and they're all great. And they have, like I said, the one storyline with Brad Pitt's, him his crew, the hunting Nazis, and then you have the story of the girl that survived the Nazi they actually came to the farmhouse where she was hiding out, and she actually survived it. She got away, and then they show her story, as the war goes on and what she does to survive. And it's just, and then you also have the Michael Fassbender. You have him. He's actually partly works with Brad Pitt's group, and he's trying to basically infiltrate Nazi, disguising himself as a Nazi officer. And it's just several different storylines that goes along in this movie, and it all intersects towards the end of the movie. And it's Quentin Tarantino, as usual. The dialogue is absolutely fantastic in this movie, and it's just a great movie. So I absolutely love that movie. Okay, and number 18 is a classic to me, a superhero movie. I'm trying to think, the first real superhero movie that I actually fell in love with. It's of course Superman the movie, directed by Richard Donner, of course, starring the late great Christopher Reeve as the Man of Steel, and everything about this movie is just epic. From the great soundtrack and the whole origin story of Superman, starting when he with the great Marlon Brando as Jor-El, the great beginning of that movie where you see him making the speech and putting the criminals into the Phantom Zone, and Krypton exploding, him landing on Earth, and him, as a teenager, discovering his powers, and then of course the great tragedy of his father dying, and then him finding the Fortress of Solitude, and becoming Superman, meeting Jor-El and becoming Superman. It's just everything about the movie is just epic. It's just the music, everything, the performance. Like I said, Christopher Reeve, I actually met him in real life, actually. Shortly after the movie came out. I think I was in junior high school or whatever, and I think he had came down to the Central Park skating ring, and he was filming some kind of segment, I think, for Good Morning America or something, and we actually saw him there, physically there. Our class was on a trip, and we actually got to meet Christopher Reeve in real life, which is great. But anyway, Superman the movie is just one of those fantastic, epic movies, and I got the Superman collection, and I'm just that movie, just watching that movie gives you a good feeling. That's how good that movie is. It's just, and like I said, you will believe a man can fly, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So that's my number 18 choice. Okay, number 17 is a movie called Picnic. I know a lot of people may not have heard of this movie. This movie came out, I believe, in 1946. Hold on, I can tell you for sure what year it came out. Hold on, let me tell you. I'll tell you exactly what year it came out. It came out in 1955. Excuse me. It came out in 1955. It starred William Holden, Kim Novak, and Cliff Robertson. This movie is basically about a small town. Small town life, and into this small town comes a stranger, a rugged, handsomely stranger played by William Holden, who comes to visit his army. I think they were college buddies. Excuse me, college buddies. Cliff Robertson, and of course he has a gal played by Kim Novak. And basically, William Holden's character is sort of like this braggart, but since he's this young, hot guy, of course, the whole town, small town, is aflame. It's all a flutter about who he is and everything else, and of course, he tends to brag about who he is and stuff, and he actually, sparks life to this little small town, and the chemistry between him and Kim Novak is just absolutely electric, and it's just a really, really great movie. And I also read about this movie. William Holden, I think, was 37 at the time this movie was filmed, which I think was a little too old for the character, because I think the play was actually on Broadway before. But William Holden gives a great performance. Okay, it's the ruggedly handsome stranger who comes to town and really, just changes everything. And it's a really, really good movie. I first saw this movie, I think, on either Turner Classic Movies or AMC. I forget which one it was, but absolutely fell in love with it. And I actually bought the VHS tape, and I hope to one day, I think it's on DVD now, but I wish they'd release this on Blu-ray and just maybe do put some special features on it. But Picnic, definitely a great movie. Like I said, 1955. I love old Hollywood movies. Definitely worth seeing. Okay, now number 16 is Unforgiven, starring, of course, the great Clint Eastwood. This is the movie that he won. I think he won a ton of Academy Awards for, like Best Picture, I think Best Supporting Actor. I think Gene Hackman won. This stars, of course, Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman, the late Richard Harris, It's basically a story about this old retired uh, gunman played Bill Mummy, played by Clint Eastwood, who was supposed to be, as his reputation as being a hard ass who killed women and children. And basically, he gets hired by these prostitutes because one of them gets her face slashed by these I guess these ranchers or something. They slice her face, and they hire them. You know, Clint Eastwood's character, him and a young kid, the dude they call the kid, and Morgan Freeman's character, who's a retired rancher. He's a friend of course, Bill Mummy. They hire him to to get revenge, and of course, it all goes to hell, of course. And I don't want to tell you what happens because it's part of the charm of the movie. But this movie is actually an epic western, and I love the last 15 minutes of this. There's several parts of this movie that I love. There's a part with Richard Harris and Gene Hackman, which I don't want to give away, which you have to see to believe. Okay, and then there's another scene towards the end of the movie. I think the last 10 to 15 minutes of the movie that takes place in a bar with Clint Eastwood, and I don't want to tell you what happens, but you have to see it. It's just epic. And this movie was just, I think this was like the first western that he did in a while. But this movie definitely deserved the Academy Awards. It was just, Gene Hackman was fantastic in it. The movie itself was great, and Clint Eastwood was just totally. He played a character that wasn't very likable. He wasn't, but he was just Clint Eastwood's the man. So definitely see Unforgiven. It's definitely a great western. Okay, now which they don't make anymore, unfortunately. Okay, and number 15 is of course Terminator 2 on my list. Another James Cameron movie. Of course, he did, of course, the first Terminator. Now he turned it up, like I said before, he turned it up a whole nother level with Terminator 2. Of course, in the first Terminator, Arnold was the bad guy trying to kill Sarah Connor to prevent the birth of John Connor, the future resistance leader. In this movie, John Connor sends a Terminator back that's been turned to protect his younger self and and protect his mother. And this movie has everything in it. In this movie, Arnold is the good guy, of course, and he goes against Robert Patrick, who plays the T-1000, who's just a vicious Terminator that can't be stopped. Basically, can't be stopped. And just the action in this, the suspense. Linda Hamilton, she even turns her transformation from the first movie to being the scared, not believing girl to being a locked up, psycho who desperately, is trying to, she's having nightmares about the future. And this movie is just absolutely fantastic and epic. Terminator 2 is just one of the better sequels of all time. Just epic. And like I said, this movie, I'm a big Terminator fan, and this movie is just epic. Okay, like I said, Terminator 2 is the best Terminator movie. To me, it's Terminator 2, the first Terminator, and then I'm gonna go Terminator Salvation, then Terminator 3. I'll put it in that order. Anyway, number 14 on my list is The Searchers. This is a Western starring John Wayne. This is a great movie, epic movie. He plays Ethan Hunt, I think is it? No, not Ethan Hunt. That's Tom Cruise. But it's Ethan. His name is Ethan. His character's name is Ethan. I forgot what his last name is. But anyway, in this movie, and the reason why it's called The Searchers is John Wayne's a Civil War veteran. Okay, and he comes home to his brother's farm. Not brother's farm, it's brother's ranch. Okay, and he's he has established early on that he can't stand Indians. He hates Indians with a burning passion. And like I said, he returned to his brother's ranch, of course, where his brother's married, of course, and he's married to a girl that apparently Ethan had feelings for a long time ago. And what happens is later, while he's away with his nephew, Indians raid the ranch. They kill his brother and his wife, and they kidnap. I think they kill one other daughter, and then they kidnap the littlest girl, Lucy. And of course, it's called Searchers because John Wayne, Ethan's character, and his nephew, played by Jeffrey Hunter, they go in search of little Lucy. And like I said, that's why they call it Searchers. But John Wayne is he gives just a hard, great performance because he's just a mean son of a bitch in this movie, and it's just a great. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely fantastic. Another great movie directed by John Ford. But anyway, part of the reason, of course, Jeffrey Hunter's character goes with John Wayne's character Ethan to find his niece Lucy is because, of course, he wants to find her because she's his cousin, I think, cousin or sister, I forget which one, but I think it's cousin. But anyway, but the second reason he wants to go is because he knows that the Ethan character, he's not sure when they catch up with Lucy whether John Wayne's character of Ethan's going to kill her or not, because he has this, and they show a perfect example of his vicious hatred of Indians because they show a scene where a woman had gotten rescued after being captured by Indians for a long time, or being and she has this dazed, confused look on her face, and you just see the actual hatred in John Wayne's eyes when he's looking at her like he'd rather kill her than have her live with being with the fact that she got taken and raised by Indians. And it's just, and part of the movie is the great part of the movie is the tension between Jeffrey Hunter's character and Ethan's character, where you don't know whether, I'm gonna say, he's gonna kill his niece when they catch up to her. Okay, and so it's just a great movie. John Wayne, he should have been nominated for an Academy Award for this movie because he gives a great performance, in my opinion. Okay, the 13th movie on my list is Seven Samurai, an Akira Kurosawa movie. Okay, this movie is it's basically about this village is getting constantly raided by bandits, and they decided to hire a bunch of samurai to protect them. Okay, and of course you have the different personalities from the different samurais, and you have they show the epic battles between the bandits and the samurai, and I love the interaction between and this is actually an inspiration for the Magnificent Seven. I love the interaction between the villagers and the samurai. It's just a great movie. This movie is about, I think, over like 2 hours, almost 2 hours and 20 minutes long or something, maybe longer than that. It's almost, I think, 3 hours, I think. I'm not sure. I saw it a few weeks ago, but it's just a fantastic movie. It's shot in black and white. Of course, I think I have it here, I think when it came out, 1954. Oh yeah, like I said, by Akira Kurosawa. Just a great movie. And like I said, it's 207 minutes, which is actually it's 3 hours and 3 hours and let's see, and 27 minutes. Yeah, 3 hours and 27 minutes. But it's not boring. The movie is definitely engaging. You'll love the battles between the bandits and the samurai and their stories and stuff that happens. And there's a nice little side story with one guy that kind of worships the samurai, and it's just a really, really great movie. And I definitely see why it inspired the Magnificent Seven. A great movie. Okay, and now the 12th movie on my list is a movie called A Patch of Blue. This movie stars Sidney Poitier and the late Elizabeth Hartman, and also Shelley Winters is in this movie. And this movie is about a girl named Selena Darcy who she lives with her mom, her vicious mom, and her grandfather, and she's blind, and of course her mother basically abuses her, and she basically makes necklaces, like pearl necklaces. That's how she earns her living. She makes these pearl necklaces. She strings the beads together to make like pearl necklaces, and I guess they sell them. But her mother is like a vicious tramp, basically, and she basically abuses Selena. And Selena's life is really, and they even show in flashback how Selena got blind. Her mother basically is the cause for her being blind, and it's just a real good movie. Her life is like really depressing, but her life starts to change when she goes to the park. She gets taken by one of her neighbors to the park, and she's doing her beads, and she meets a guy played by Sidney Poitier, Gordon Ralph, and he basically befriends her. He sees her making beads and stuff, and they strike up a conversation, and he starts basically educating her because he finds out through their friendship and their meetings in the park that she's basically led a sheltered life, and she hasn't really done anything. He takes her he takes her shopping. He takes her, he lets her listen to music. He even gives her sunglasses because, and it's just, and it's a great, it's like a love story. See, but the thing is, of course, Sidney Poitier's his character, of course, is black, and Elizabeth Hartman's character is a younger white girl, of course. But you actually love the story because Selena, her character, starts to blossom once he meets this guy, and she starts experiencing all these things that she never knew about before, and of course, she falls in love with him, of course. And I won't tell you the ending and stuff, but it's absolutely a fantastic movie. It was filmed in black and white, and I think came out in the 60s, 1962 or 61. But it's a really, really great movie. I absolutely love this movie. The first time I saw it was on public access TV, I think Channel 13, and I absolutely fell in love with this movie. It's definitely a movie definitely worth seeing, one of my favorite movies. Now, the 11th movie on my list is Spellbound, starring Gregory Peck and Ingrid Bergman. This movie is about Ingrid Bergman. She's a psychiatrist at this clinic, of course, and she's kind of repressed. She has glasses, of course, and she's kind of this uptight doctor, of course. And at the beginning of the movie, the head of the clinic is being removed, and he's getting replaced by a younger person, of course. And we find out later that person, of course, happens to be Gregory Peck. He's supposed to be this learned doctor is going to take over the institution, of course. And Ingrid Bergman's character has a sort of a crush. She develops a kind of a crush on him because she's read his book, and now that she's met him, they even show them the beginning of the movie that of them interacting and having a picnic, and you can tell they even they absolutely sparks fly when they meet, and it's a great opening sequence when they meet late at night, and basically you find out later, of course, that Gregory Peck's character is not who he says he is. He's not the doctor who's supposed to be taking over the clinic. He's actually an amnesiac who can't remember who he is. And this movie is basically the story of them trying to helping him try to find out who he is. And Spellbound, of course, directed by the great Alfred Hitchcock, and has certain these fantasy sequences that were done by the great Salvador Dali, and it's a fantastic movie. Like I said, very nice romantic kind of mystery movie, and it's really, really good. I absolutely love Spellbound. I have it on VHS, and then I got the Blu-ray that came out. Was it this year, or it could have been late last year? But Spellbound, definitely a great movie, definitely worth getting.